Okay, next is we have your introduction to hemostasis. So for hemostasis, this term is coined from two words such as your hemo and stasis. So hemo means blood and stasis is to stop. So literally you are stopping the blood flow out of your body. Okay? So your hemostasis involves interaction of various factors such as your blood vessel, platelet, coagulation mechanism including your coagulation factors, your fibrinolysis, which in later on will lyse or remove your clot, and the tissue repair during your injury. Okay. Your hemostasis is a complex process that produces a clot, okay, to stop the bleeding. And this clot is stabilized for some time in order for your tissue to promote healing. Okay? Keeps the clot confined in the area of your injury. Why? Because sometimes if your clot is removed from the site of injury or um abnormally removed on that area, it will form, okay, a thrombus. Okay? Thrombus and will later on will be an embolus. So, ano yung difference ng thrombus and embolus? Pag thrombus, nasa isang lugar lang. Okay, meaning nandun pa lang siya sa site kung saan siya natanggal. Pag sinabi nating emboli or embolus, it already moved to the other side. And that embolus could also usually cause death. Okay, specifically on your pulmonary embolus or your cardiac embolus. Okay, so that's why it keeps the clot confined in the site of injury. It dissolves the clot as the wound heals because um, we cannot have the clot all throughout our life. Okay, because it will impede your blood flow due to the bulky appearance, okay, and the formation of scar in your endothelium that will disturb the blood flow of your blood vessels. Okay, kaya it will needs to be dissolved later on. So the purpose of your hemostasis is to ensure that coagulation mechanisms are activated when there is an injury, okay, and unnecessary activated. So um promotes necessary activation during injury, during the times of need. Bakit? Kasi if your hemostasis is dysfunctional and cannot be activated during bleeding, okay, you would have a major deficit specifically on your blood volume that will be seen, okay, as possible anemia, okay, or clinical manifestation such as your anemia. Not unnecessarily activated, meaning you do not promote coagulation or hemostasis without any injury because, okay, formation of a thrombus or a clot, okay, or hemostatic clot in non-injurious way, meaning your body just forms a clot, that would be a problem specifically, okay, as to your small blood vessel that could be occluded and later on will lead to vascular necrosis. Okay? Okay. Restore tissue blood flow after repair or of your injury because your blood flow is disturbed during injury due to the presence of opening. Okay? So after healing, okay, it will restore the normal blood flow. So what are the systems involved in your hemostasis? So you do have four systems, your vascular system or your vasculature, your platelet system, okay, which usually embodies the primary hemostasis, okay, your clot formation specifically embodies your secondary hemostasis and your fibrinolysis. For your vasculature, this is composed of blood vessels, such as your artery, veins, capillary, arterioles, and your venous. And this is arranged as to the caliber, okay, from the biggest to smallest caliber, okay, and more muscular, okay, and less muscular content. Okay, so the role of your vasculature usually occurs in your venous and arterioles, okay, wherein your endothelial lining of your blood vessels, okay, serves as a receptor and activating factor for your primary hemostasis. Okay, this is usually coated with your um, carbohydrates and protein or glycocalyx, and abluminal side is attached to the basement membrane that contains usually your collagen, that is a receptor for your platelet adhesion. So what is the difference between your arteries and veins? So your arteries have thickest wall, okay? And this thickness is is coming from the muscular content of your arteries. Okay, because pumping of blood all throughout the body requires musculature, and your arteries requires that. Then your veins are larger and have more irregular lumen, specifically in your histology. Okay? And that irregular lumen views as it is collapse. Okay? Than your artery due to the absence of your musculature. Okay? Due to the absence of musculature. So this is a um, histological slide, depicting your vein and your artery. So on your left side, okay, on your left side, this is a vein. How can we say that this is a vein? As you can see, the musculature is very thin. Okay? The musculature is very thin, and no? You can see the caliber, it is bigger. How do we know that this is a blood vessel? We could see red cells inside your blood vessel. How about this one? This is your artery because of the musculature. Okay, the musculature present in your artery. Okay, yeah. So in comparison, this is an artery, this is a vein. So as you can see, observe it, the adventitia is almost same as to the thickness, but the tunica media, okay, that contains your muscles is usually thin in the vein, and in the artery it is thick due to the pressure of blood pumping. Okay? And your veins usually exhibits bulbs, okay, which is a unique characteristic of your veins. Ito, this is bulbs, okay? Those are bulbs. What is the purpose of your bulbs? This prevents the backflow of your deoxygenated blood. So para one way lang yung push ng ating blood. That is the function of your bulbs in your veins. So the blood vessel has three layers. You have tunica intima, media, and adventitia, coming from the inner layer up to the outer layer. Okay, so the most inner layer is your intima, and which is the thinnest layer of your blood vessel. Okay, usually this is called internal elastic lamina due to the um, characteristic of being elastic. And your tunica media, again, the middle layer, which is composed of your muscle layer, specifically smooth muscle layer, and also contain elastic fiber to um, adapt as to the stretching of your blood vessel. Next is your tunica adventitia, the outermost layer of your blood vessel, wherein this is the strongest of the three layers, and it is composed of collagenous and elastic fiber. That's why, this is responsible for the adherence of your platelet later on during injury. So this is a comparison of your artery and vein. And usually they are connected via capillary network. Specifically, this is in for the function of blood gas exchange. Okay, so again, we could observe that your artery has a thicker layer of your tunica media compared to your vein, and the presence of valves in your vein that promotes one-way pass-through of your blood. So role of your blood vessels. So it has a non-thrombotic role wherein it is a negatively charged surface that will promotes the repel of your cells. Okay? Para hindi didikit. Okay? Your cells are also negatively charged, and like charges repels. Okay? It inhibits platelet activation, okay, by production of your prostacyclin and nitric oxide synthesis, okay, in order for you not to activate, okay, abnormally your platelets during the travel in your blood vessel. Kasi nga, simple bumps can activate your platelet. Okay, inactivation of thrombin, okay, in the production of your heparin sulfate and thrombomodulin that will inhibit your thrombin in activating, okay, your secondary hemostasis. Next, it has also a thrombotic role wherein exposure in the subendothelium, okay, okay, during injury will promote thrombosis or clotting. Okay? Specifically, the content is your collagen. Next is your secretion of platelet activating factors, okay, such as your von Willebrand factor, your Adams 13, and your collagen. Secretion of von Willebrand factor in your endothelial cells, okay, for your platelet adhesion, and your tissue factor that will aids in your secondary hemostasis in activating your extrinsic pathway. Okay, so your platelets, okay, has inert cell fragment. Again, this is just a cellular fragment, a nucleated cellular fragment. Bakit unnucleated? Kasi nga, again, before leaving the bone marrow, your nucleus will be removed by the bone marrow, okay, will be lived on the bone marrow and later on be phagocytized by macrophages. Okay? Next, monitor blood vessel lining. Okay, the platelets monitor the blood vessel lining if there is any injury during passive surveillance. Okay, it will promote thrombosis and seal the gap or the small spaces, okay, on your blood vessels. Then primary formation of primary hemostatic plug, which is your platelet clot. Okay, and provides phospholipid surface for secondary hemostasis. Okay, and also the release of the coagulation promoting factors, okay, on your platelet granules. It also promotes healing by stimulation of your smooth muscles and fibroblasts information of tissue repair. So again, this is an electron microscopy. As we can see, this is the normal shape of your platelet. Circular in shape and inactivated, mukha siyang astrocytes or star cells. Okay? And it has a blebbings on the side that will serve as the interaction with your other platelets and the endothelium of your injured site. So again, pag platelet to platelet interaction, that is called aggregation. Pagka platelet to endothelium, that is your platelet adhesion. So in peripheral blood smear, we could see these are your platelets. Okay, they are small. Okay, they look like an artifact. So in the clot formation, we do have your platelet function. Okay, specifically your platelet adhesion, the activation of your platelet, the secretion of the contents, and the aggregation. Okay? So again, on the platelet adhesion, the major regulatory protein on this is your GP1B, okay, and your von Willebrand that will bind later on in the collagen present in the tissue injury site or the site of injury. Next is your platelet activation, okay? The platelet activation, um, the platelet activation usually triggers the after platelet adhesion and reshapes of the chain. It promotes the change in shape of your platelet due to the platelet contraction and that will release, okay? Release your granules and contents in your platelet secretion. I forgot to mention in adhesion, um, on your endothelial cell, the specific cell or part of your endothelial cell that produces von Willebrand factor is your Weibel pallid bodies, Weibel pallid bodies. Okay? And your aggregation, again, this is triggered, okay, on the recruitment of your other platelets by, okay, promoting your GP2B3A, okay, in recruitment of your other platelet. Next is secondary hemostasis or your secondary hemostasis. We do have different pathways and your fibrinolysis is included. So in secondary hemostasis, intrinsic pathway is the activation of your coagulation system without any external injury. Okay, without the involvement of your endothelium outside the blood vessel. On the extrinsic pathway, this is initiated or activated by a endothelial injury due to the presence or need of your tissue factor coming from your endothelium. And these two pathway will result in a one pathway or the common pathway that will later on stabilizes your clot. Okay? And after the formation of clot and healing, you will now promote fibrinolysis. Wherein your fibrinolysis is process of breaking down the fibrin in the clot through the hydrolysis of your fibrin in order for it to be degraded. And activation of system occurs when the intrinsic pathway is already activated. Okay? Actually, okay, during the common pathway, okay, your fibrinolysis is also being activated. And what is the principle of coagulation? So we have a principle of balance as to the coagulation. No? Specifically, your platelets should be a balance. Okay, because if your platelets is too low or your hemostatic factors are too low, it will lead to coagulation. Okay? Coagulation and okay, fibrinolysis. If it's too baliktad, it's too high coagulation. Pag too low, it's fibrinolysis. So if ever that your platelets are too low, it would result, okay, into bleeding or hemorrhage. Okay, decreased coagulation factor, decreased platelet, and increase fibrinolysis or lysis of your clot formation. And then if your coagulation factors are too high, okay, you would promote coagulation or thrombosis or clotting. Okay, due to the increased coagulation factors, platelet, and decreased fibrinolysis. And again, in the body, we need an equilibrium or balance in your platelet, coagulation, fibrinolysis, and the blood vessel or the endothelium. Because again, injury in your blood vessel would initiate the formation of your clot. Okay, so we proceed now to your primary hemostasis. On your primary hemostasis, okay, we will discuss now the function of your platelet as to formation of your clot. So first is, again, hemostasis, no? Hemostasis usually occurs in your arterioles in the venue and venues, and the vessels has a non-thrombotic effect specifically in normal circumstance due to the presence of your negatively charged endothelium, and damaged vessels are prothrombotic, meaning it promotes coagulation and clotting. Okay? So again, um, those are your factors in the hemostasis. So the primary hemostasis, the role of blood vessels and platelet in response to your vascular injury. So the primary hemostasis is composed of your blood vessel and platelet per se. So yung dalawa lang pag-uusapan natin on this one. And then this usually forms, or the end product of your primary hemostasis is your platelet plug. Okay, platelet plug. It has two responses, your vascular response, okay, in relation to the role of your blood vessel, and your platelet response in the response to your platelet in your coagulation. First is your vascular response. So during vascular response, we releases some substances such as your prostacyclin. And the function of your prostacyclin, okay, it inhibits platelet aggregation, okay, and it induces vasodilation. So during this time, ano nangyayari? Bakit nagkakaroon ng vasodilation? Akala ko po ba kailangan mag-constrict ng blood vessel? It will need first to have vascular dilation or vasodilation. Bakit magkakaroon ng vasodilation? You are promoting higher or um, more blood cells, okay, to go in the site of injury. Kaya gusto mo mas madami yung blood flow in order for your cells to arrive on your site of injury. Okay? Kaya meron muna tayong vasodilation. And adenosine which also induces vasodilation. So again, papalakihin muna yung blood vessels in order for your cells to go to the site of injury or to be parang sa traffic, okay? Mas maluwag yung kalsada, mas mabilis kang makakapunta sa patutunguhan mo. Okay? So, that is also same with your cells. Kaya natin pinapalaki yung blood vessels in order for our cells to arrive by early in the site of injury. Another component that is being released during vascular response is your thrombomodulin. That it also inactivates your thrombin. It enhances the anticoagulant activity of protein C, wherein this protein C will inactivate your factor 1 and factor 7. Okay? Bakit nila ini-inactivate? Bakit ini-inhibit pa si thrombin? Akala ko ba kailangan natin agad ng vascular response? So, before that, okay, we need to first seal off the area, okay, with the use of your platelets. Okay? Kaya nga primary platelet lang muna, wala pang coagulation factors masyado involved. okay, um, on your hemostasis. Okay? Another is heparin sulfate enhances activity of your antithrombin 3. Your antithrombin, again, inactivates your thrombin. Okay? And your TPE or tissue plasminogen activator, okay, converts plasminogen to plasmin that will promote lysis of your or fibrinolysis later on. Okay? The von Willebrand factor now is required for platelet adhesion. Okay? Okay? So for your platelet adhesion, your von Willebrand factor will adhere to the collagen and will catch your platelets to adhere in the surface of your tissue injury. And then you also have your 3A HODE or your 3-hydroxy uh, octadecadionic acid. Okay? It inhibits platelet adhesion. Eh bakit po ganun, no? On your vascular response, it inhibits and it promotes both coagulation and hemostasis. Again, if we remember your function of your vascular or vasculature, it has a prothrombotic and non-thrombotic function. Okay? And some, no, under normal circumstances, it releases non-thrombotic, okay, um, contents or substance in order for your blood coagulation not to proceed. Okay? And in during injury, it will promote coagulation. So that's your vascular response. Next, we go to your platelet response. Wherein, no, your platelet response will promote vasoconstriction, platelet adhesion, aggregation, the fibrin platelet plug formation, and fibrin stabilization. So for vasoconstriction, anong nangyayari during vasoconstriction? So if we do have, okay, if we do have your blood vessels, okay, this is the normal blood vessel. Okay, o, isipin natin pantay yan, no? Ito yung magagaling mag-drawing sa ano. So if ever, no, yan. Okay? Ano nangyayari? Your constriction magkakaroon ng narrowing on one side. Okay, magkakaroon ng narrowing. Ano mangyayari pag nagna-narrow yung blood vessel? So, for example, normal, yan. Okay, sabi nga natin kanina, nagkakaroon muna ng vasodilation. Malaki yung blood vessel. Okay, for example, nandito yung site of injury. Nandyan yung site of injury. One side will promote vasodilation and one side will promote vasoconstriction or liliit para maipon dito yung blood cells in order for your injury to have the platelet response. Okay? Kaya nagkakaroon ng vasoconstriction. And sometimes later on, no, if enough na ito, it will also promote vasoconstriction in the other end. Okay? In order for your platelet plug and fibrin plug to be stabilized. Okay? So, yan. Next is the platelet adhesion and aggregation. Okay. So what is the difference between primary hemostasis and secondary hemostasis? On your primary hemostasis, usually the involved blood vessels are usually the small blood vessels. Okay? And this commission is usually present. Okay, pag secondary naman, large injuries to blood vessels and surrounding tissue are involved, okay? Next, involve vascular intima and platelet on the response on your primary hemostasis. On your secondary, no, involves platelet and no, together with your coagulation system. Okay. For your primary hemostasis, this is rapid. Okay? And short-lived response, meaning mabagal lang. Pagka secondary naman, delayed, medyo matagal due to the activation of your coagulation system. And okay, could be a long-term response as to no the caliber of the blood vessels involved are larger than usual. Damaged or activated endothelial cell promotes your primary hemostasis because again your endothelial cells contains um, collagen, okay, and the von Willebrand factor that will signal okay there is an injury. But in your secondary hemostasis in um external injury, usually the tissue factor is exposed to the cell membrane, promoting platelet response and coagulation system activation. So again, these are the steps in your primary hemostasis: the vasoconstriction, adhesion, and aggregation. So the constriction composed of endothelium and subendothelium. So we already mentioned that earlier. And how does it promotes your coagulation? So again, no, if we would remember, sabi natin, during vessel injury, we will have first your vasodilation in order for your cell to arrive at the site of injury, and there would be blood vessel contraction or vasoconstriction in order for you to trap more blood cells and to lessen the surface area of your injury. Next, for platelet adhesion. On your platelet adhesion, okay, adhesion to the exposed subendothelium connective tissue. And major interaction is binding of platelet receptor, okay, GP1B9 complex to your von Willebrand factor, which will later on binds to collagen. So ano nangyayari dyan? Yung platelet will release or in the glycocalyx of your platelet, yan, di ba, sa outside natin, may presence ng GP1B9 complex that will, okay, adhere to your von Willebrand factor. Anong ginagawa ni von Willebrand factor dyan? Si von Willebrand factor para siyang nag-act as a mordant, pandikit or paste or catching net. Okay? In order for your platelet to stick on the collagen of your basement membrane of your endothelium. So, siya yung pandikit ng platelet dito kay collagen fibers. Okay, another perspective, your von Willebrand factor is released by your endothelium during injury. So, ayan, magkakaroon tayo ng release. And that will be a chemoattractant, okay, for your platelet. Okay? On your platelet, no, didikit yan si von Willebrand factor sa receptor kay platelet. Again, ano yung receptor natin kay von Willebrand factor? Your GP1B9 complex that will adhere on your collagen. Okay? Next, your platelet activation. So during platelet activation, there would be a triggered after platelet adhesion or in the exposure of to your agonist. And the shape will change as to a spherical one into a deformed or star-shaped one. Okay, astrocyte. Bakit? Kasi no, magi-squeeze. Okay, magi-squeeze ang platelet. Okay, magi-squeeze papunta sa gitna para pipigain niya yung content niya. Okay, in order for your contents to be released outside. Okay, promoting other functions such as um, activation of secondary hemostasis. So kaya nagkakaroon tayo ng shape change. Okay? Altered orientation of your phospholipid, okay? New receptor expression, and change in the biochemistry due to the release of your, again, your your granules, no? Such as alpha and dense granules. Okay? So ano yung nag-stimulate nito? Usually, we need your thromboxane A2 or your TXA2. Okay, your thromboxane A2. Okay, which synthesized from arachidonic acid by your cyclooxygenase and thromboxane synthase. No? This TXA2 or your thromboxane A2 will promote your platelet granule secretion and also promotes vasoconstriction. Kaya nga no, if we would remember what do you call this? The mode of action or the mode of action of your aspirin is the inhibition of your cyclooxygenase. Okay? The cyclooxygenase. Because that cyclooxygenase promotes your thromboxane A to rendering the functionality of your platelet activation. Kaya nga we are refraining from sa blood donation, we are refraining to have a collection if you have in consumed paracetamol or aspirin because this drugs inhibits your cyclooxygenase that will inhibit your thromboxane A2 to be released on your platelet. Okay? that that promotes or that leaves your platelet dysfunctional. Okay? Kaya walang wenta yung magiging platelet mo. Okay? Next, your platelet secretion, okay, requires adenosine triphosphate or energy, your ATP. Okay? And the open canalicular system that will fuse with granular membrane. So again, ito yung openings on your membrane of your platelet in order for your granules or contents to be released on the outside world. And the contents of alpha and dense granules are released in the outside of the platelet. Okay? So usually, other than your granules, we also release your calcium. Okay? Again, your calcium is essential in secondary hemostasis. Next, we promote your platelet aggregation. As to the platelet aggregation, okay, the von Willebrand factor binding to your GP1B9 complex activates an intracellular signaling pathway that results in activation of your GP2B3A. Okay, tandaan, pag GP1B, that is adhesion. Unang function, kaya nga 1. Okay, unang function ng platelet adhesion, GP1B. Pag GP2B, okay, dalawa, 2. Again, tandaan natin, ano yung palatandaan natin? Dalawang platelet, dalawa yung G. Okay, 2 is to 2. Okay, kaya si GP1B, okay, is for adhesion and GP2B is for aggregation. Okay, that will bind later on to your fibrinogen. Okay? Your fibrinogen forms bridges to your GP2B3A, okay, of your platelets. Okay? From platelet to platelet. Okay? Interaction and adhesion of platelet to one another to form your initial plug. Okay? Or your initial plug is also known as your platelet plug. Okay? Hindi pa siya ganun ka-stable. No? And so, so in the primary aggregation, usually the clot is still loose, no, hindi pa ganun ka-stable. Kaya nga sa secondary siya na i-stabilize. Okay, so ayan, this is your platelets adhering to your platelets and this is your fibrin mesh. Okay, stabilizing your platelet clot. So that's your primary hemostasis. Okay, for your secondary hemostasis, this is a mechanism consisting of series of cascading reactions. So, your coagulation cascade. Pagka sinabi natin cascading reaction or cascade, it is a step-by-step process. So, hindi siya pwedeng um, magawa yung isa hangga't hindi mo nagagawa yung isa. Or it is usually in a domino effect. Pag na-activate yung isa, you will activate another one. Okay, that's cascading reaction. The goal is in generation of sufficient thrombin and formation of your fibrin clot. So kanina kung ano pinag-uusapan natin sa primary hemostasis is platelet clog, okay, or platelet clot. Now, it is stabilized with your fibrin. Okay, it involves activation of your factors via three pathways, specifically your intrinsic pathway, okay, extrinsic and common pathway. Okay, so this three pathways will deal different coagulation factors that is activated during your injury. Okay, so this is a shortcut, okay, depiction of how your clot is formed. So during a vessel injury, so again, no, usually we start with a vessel injury because you cannot promote any coagulation without any injury. So on a primary hemostasis, okay, it will go upward. Okay, sa primary. Such as you will have your platelet activation or platelet adhesion muna, okay, on your blood vessel injury, okay, and your platelet adhesion, okay, and activation will promote vasoconstriction, okay, and simultaneously, again, hindi lang to isa lang, simultaneous na nangyayari yan, okay, okay, it will promote vasoconstriction and platelet aggregation, and the vasoconstriction and aggregation will lead to your formation of platelet plug. Later on, joined by your secondary hemostasis, your platelet plug will be stabilized and form a fibrin clot. And simultaneously, no, again, your platelet aggregation will activate or platelet activation will activate your coagulation cascade. Okay, what part of your coagulation cascade, specifically the intrinsic pathway, while your tissue factor or your extrinsic pathway coming from the vessel injury promoting your factor 7 will also initiate the coagulation cascade leading to the activation of your common pathway that will form your thrombin and later on stabilize your clot. So again, simultaneous na nangyayari itong lahat ng ito. Hindi ito isa-isa na nangyayari. Okay? So the event on this one is the fibrin platelet plug formation and fibrin stabilization, wherein okay, coagulation factors interact on platelet surface to produce fibrin, and fibrin platelet plug then forms at the site of your blood vessel. Okay, and it will later on stabilize your fibrin. Okay, the fibrin clot must be stabilized by your coagulation factor 13, okay, or your fibrin, your stabilizing factor. So since we are talking your coagulation factors, here are your coagulation factors in a table, no, summarizing the biochemistry composition, the other names, and the name of your factor. Again, we write our coagulation factor in Roman numeral. Kay Roman numeral. Pagka platelet factor, it is okay that you utilize your English numerical system. But here, no, we use your Roman numeral pagka platelet coagulation factor. So for coagulation factor 1, this is known to be your fibrinogen and the activated form is your fibrin. Okay? Pagka nagkakaroon na ng A, okay, factor 1A, that denotes activation. Okay, pag may factor 1A, factor 2A, that's already activated form. So an activated form of your fibrinogen is fibrin. Okay? And other names, wala. And usually it is composed of your glycoprotein. On your factor 2, this is known to be your prothrombin. And the activated form is thrombin. Okay? Also composed of your glycoprotein. Factor 3 is a tissue factor. Okay? Tissue factor, your tissue thromboplastin, which is composed of your lipoprotein. We don't have, sorry. And then you have your factor 4, which is our calcium, the only ion on your coagulation system. Okay, the calcium. Okay, again, no, as we said earlier on your primary hemostasis and the platelet discussion, no, it is essential for the coagulation system to have, okay, calcium. Okay, in order for your coagulation system to proceed. Next is factor 5, your proaccelerin, which is also known as your labile factor. Okay? Pag sinabi nating labile factor, it is easily destroyed, okay, by environmental factors such as temperature, pH, no, and storage. Okay? So glycoprotein in composition. Okay? And your factor 6, we don't have any factor 6. This is removed from the system. Okay? And then we have factor 7, proconvertin. This is the, also known as a stable factor serum, prothrombin conversion accelerator. Okay? Or also known as the stable factor or proconvertin. Then it is composed of glycoprotein. This is also involved in extrinsic pathway. Next, uh, sorry, as I remember, extrinsic pathway is your factor 7, 4, and 3. Okay, but C4 also plays a major role in intrinsic and extrinsic. But I want you to remember that the tissue factor, 3 plus 4 is equals to 7. Yun lang. Those are the things you need to remember for extrinsic pathway. 3 plus 4 is equals to 7 because tissue factor plus calcium is the first response as to external vessel injury, promoting the activation of your factor 7. Next, factor 8 is also known as your anti-hemophilic factor. Other names are anti-hemophilic globulin, anti-hemophilic factor A. Kaya nga in hemophilia, it is hemophilia A is for factor 8. Okay? And it is composed of glycoprotein. Factor 9 is plasma thromboplastin component, also known as your anti-hemophilic factor V or your Christmas factor. Okay? Christmas factor. And again, this is for hemophilia B, deficient in hemophilia B. Factor 10, also known as your Stewart factor. Okay? Or other names are Prower factor or Stewart Prower factor. Okay? Composed of glycoprotein. This is the main, okay, factor for your common pathway. On your factor 11, this is also known as your PTA or your plasma thromboplastin antecedent, also known as your anti-hemophilic factor C. This is composed of beta or gamma globulin. Next, factor 12. For your factor 12, this is known as your Hagman factor. Okay, other names are your glass factor or contact factor due to the activation during presence of your glass. Okay, this is composed of sialoglycoprotein. Okay, sialoglycoprotein. And your factor 13 is also known as your fibrin stabilizing factor or Lucky Lauren factor. This is composed of your beta or gamma globulin also, same as your factor 11. Then we do have not a factor, but an important part of your coagulation system, your prekallikrein and your kallikrein. Okay? Your prekallikrein um, is also known as Fletcher factor, which is a plasma protein that usually activates your factor 12 simultaneously, or that is involved in the activation of your factor 12. And then you have your high molecular weight kininogen, okay, or your HMWK, also known as your Fitzgerald factor, William factor, or Flogiac factor, okay, which is also a plasma protein. Okay? So other important information that you need to know for your factors. Your factor 2 is a precursor of thrombin consumed during coagulation. So um it cannot be restored. Then on your factor 3, cofactor of your factor 7 together with your factor 4. Okay? So in order for you to activate factor 7, you need your factor 3, your tissue factor. Then you have your factor 4, which is a cofactor of your factor 10. And your factor 5, a cofactor of factor 10 and factor 2, which is, again, okay, your factor 4 and 5 is needed in order for you to activate your factor 10. Your factor 7, main precursor of your extrinsic pathway, okay, that is usually activated by your factor 3 and 4. Kaya nga, 3 plus 4 is 7 for extrinsic pathway. For factor 8, okay, cofactor for factor 10 via intrinsic pathway. Okay, and factor 12 is a cofactor for factor 9 and 11 and 9. Okay, and your prekallikrein and high molecular weight kininogen are usually our contact factors. So we categorize your coagulation factor as to substrate and cofactor. So for substrate, usually this is your factor 1 or fibrination. Okay? For your cofactors, factor 5 and 8, and your enzymes are composed of usually the activated forms such as your serine protease, factor 9A, factor 10A, factor 13A, and transaminase, and even your prekallikrein. This is by hemostatic function, categories by hemostatic function. But if we will categorize or classify as to the physical properties, we can divide it into 3 groups. Your contact group, prothrombin group or vitamin K dependent group, and your fibrinogen group. For your contact group, we mentioned already what are your contact group on your previous slides. So you do have your factor 11, 12, prekallikrein, and high molecular weight. So these are usually, okay, um, seen together, these four, okay, during your intrinsic pathway activation. Okay, on your prothrombin group, okay, or vitamin K dependent group, these are called vitamin K dependent due to they need vitamin K in order for them to be released in the circulation. So you do have your factor 2, 7, 9, and 10, or your 9, 10, 1972. Okay? 1972 ang ating mnemonics for this one. 1972, 9, 10, 7, 2. Okay? And then your fibrinogen group, of course, your fibrin is here. Factor 5, factor 8, and your factor 13 because your factor 13 is stabilizing your fibrin clot. Okay? All that involves in your fibrinogen is fibrinogen group. So, by group, okay? Fibrinogen group composed of 1, 5, 8, and 13. These are the most labile, meaning they are easily destroyed, okay, or consumed during coagulation. Usually, the factor 5 and factor 8 are the most labile upon storage of blood. So, meaning, during storage, usually nasisira ang factor 5 and factor 8. Kaya nga, we can rarely see factor 5 and factor 8 concentrate due to their labile properties. And usually, your fibrinogen group is increased in pregnancy, inflammation, and use of your contraceptive drugs. Okay? They act as a substrate, okay, specifically for plasmin. And they are usually found in alpha granules of platelet, except your factor 13, because your factor 13 is found in your cytoplasm of your platelet. And factor 8 is not found in your platelets. Okay, next is your prothrombin group, composed of factor 2, 7, 9, and 10. These are again vitamin dependent because again, vitamin K is necessary for gamma decarboxylation of your coagulation protein necessary for this group. Okay? And stable and remains well preserved in stored plasma. So, kaya nga usually, no, yung mga baby, if you know, the babies or the newborns are usually injected with vitamin K because they cannot synthesize vitamin K immediately. Bakit? Your vitamin K is usually, okay, produced by your microorganisms such as seen on your gut or on your um, intestines, no? And during birth, okay, still your neonates doesn't have enough normal flora in order to induce vitamin K production in your intestines. Kaya, no, usually binibigay natin yung vitamin K in order for us to promote coagulation in newborn due to the prothrombin group. Next is contact group. Your contact group is composed of factor 11, 12, prekallikrein, and high molecular weight kininogen. So again, kaya sila contact group because they are absorbed by the negative charge surface of your glass or collagen in the endothelium. So moderately stable and not consumed during coagulation. Okay? And your factor 12A plus high molecular weight kininogen forms the activation of your factor 9 to factor 9A and prekallikrein to kallikrein. Kaya as I said earlier, no, this contact group are important in the cycle or promotion or activation of your intrinsic pathway. Okay? They are usually these factors are involved in intrinsic pathway. So yeah. So these are information as to if they are vitamin K dependent as to the physical property, vitamin K dependent, absorbed by your aluminum hydroxide or barium sulfate, consumed during clotting, and is it found on serum or plasma? So again, ano pinagkaiba ni serum at ni plasma? Si serum, walang anticoagulant. So your fibrin or fibrinogen is consumed. Pagka plasma, you still have your coagulation preserved, okay, with different mechanisms such as your EDTA, it chelates your calcium, on your heparin, it inactivates your thrombin and other factors. Okay, so yan. So for contact group, again, they are not absorbed. Okay, so usually they are not consumed during coagulation. And they are not vitamin dependent and not consumed during clotting. They are both found in your serum or plasma. Your prothrombin, your factor 2, 7, 9, and 10. is absorbed by your aluminum hydroxide and your barium sulfate. Yes, they are vitamin K dependent and they are not consumed a specific they are consumed during clotting, okay, except your factor 2 which is consumed, no? They are not consumed, all of them except your factor 2. They are found both in your serum and plasma. For fibrinogen group, again, factor 1, 5, 8, and 13, they are not absorbed by your aluminum hydroxide and barium sulfate. They are not vitamin K dependent and they are consumed during clotting and they are only found in your plasma. Again, bakit sa plasma lang? Because in serum, ano nga bang characteristic ni serum? This serum is clotted. Okay? Uh, fluid of your blood, fluid of your clotted blood. And during clotting, no, nako-consume natin si fibrinogen group. Kaya sa plasma lang siya nakikita. Okay. Let's go now to your individual factor. For your factor 13, okay, this is known as your stabilizing factor. This protein stabilizes the linkage between your fibrin monomer of the blood and it is present in the plasma and platelets and apparently synthesized by your megakaryocyte. They stabilizes your fibrin. So again, yan, factor 13 will be activated into factor 13A, okay, helping your fibrin to be a stable clot. Okay, dyan siya nag-a-act. Okay, yeah. And the half-life of your factor 13 is 150 hours. So bago siya mawala or maging kalahati in the circulation of blood, you need 150 hours or around 7 days. Okay? Factor 12. Your factor 12 is also known as your Hagman factor. It is a serine protease, and half-life is 48 to 70 hours. This is a stable globulin that is not consumed during clotting. And this factor is activated by contact with foreign surface, kaya kasama siya sa contact group, and initiate the intrinsic system or intrinsic pathway. It is also involved in the activation of your fibrinolysis. So again, makikita natin yan dito. Ito yan, si factor 12. Factor 12 will be activated into factor 12A, initiating the cycle of activation of your prekallikrein with the help of your high molecular weight kininogen into kallikrein. Okay? Into kallikrein. And okay, that kallikrein will again help the collagen contact to initiate the formation of your factor 12 to be activated. And simultaneously, your factor 11 will be activated by your factor 12. Next, factor 11. No? This is a serine protease. Can be a beta or gamma globulin, partly consumed in clotting, found in serum or plasma. And the half-life is usually 48 to 84 hours. So again, no, here factor 11, 11A will help with the help of your calcium, will convert your factor 9 into factor 9A. Okay, initiating your common pathway later on. Next, your factor 10. Factor 10 is a serine protease not consumed in the clotting process. They are found in both serum and plasma. Okay? And precipitated by around 55 to 60% of ammonium sulfate and activated by the product of both extrinsic and intrinsic. Kaya nga common pathway, you know? Ito ang end pathway ng intrinsic and extrinsic. And the half-life is around 48 to 52 hours. Okay? For the factor 9, okay? Present in both serum or plasma. They are vitamin K dependent and not consumed during clotting. Okay? Essential component of intrinsic thromboplastin generating system. Okay, that will activate your common factor later on by the help of calcium, factor 8, and factor 8. And the half-life is usually 24 hours only. For the factor 8, the other name is antihemophilic factor or antihemophilic factor A. No, the source is usually this is released by your endothelium lining of the blood vessel and even by your platelet. This is activated by thrombin, and the action it usually works with factor 9 and calcium to activate your factor 10. Okay. Your factor 7. Okay, factor 7 is a stable factor. Is activated by tissue thromboplastin. Okay, your tissue thromboplastin or your tissue factor. Okay, is factor 3. Okay, this is vitamin K dependent and the half-life is usually 6 hours. Okay, during blood vessel injury, your tissue factor, factor 3 plus, okay, that is initiated with calcium or factor 4, will end up activating your factor 7 into factor 7A. Okay, leading to the activation of your common pathway. Next is your factor 5. This is synthesized in the liver. Okay, they are usually unstable when stored in citrated plasma. Okay, kaya nga tinawag itong labile factor and consumed during clotting process in the serum. Okay, kaya nga they are also absent in the serum. Sorry, they are present in both serum. They are not present in serum but present in plasma. The half-life is 24 hours. Okay? So factor 5, yan, will initiate your factor 9, factor 10 to be activating your thrombin later. Next is your factor 4, no? This is essential in all of your coagulation pathway because calcium is needed for extrinsic, intrinsic, and common pathway. Okay? It is an inactive form of calcium is required for the activation of your thromboplastin and conversion of your prothrombin. Okay? Our minimum value is your minimum plasma concentration is your usually 8 to 10 milligram per deciliter. Next is factor 3. Factor 3 is a cofactor or tissue cofactor. A half-life is usually insoluble used to designate uh, the clot accelerating action of your extract of tissue. That's why this is also known as your extrinsic factor. Okay? Or tissue factor. And this is thromboplastin. Thromboplastin is required for the conversion of your thrombin and to thrombin. Your prothrombin to thrombin. Next is your factor 2. Okay, for your factor 2, this is a proenzyme, precursor of thrombin. So this is a prothrombin. Usually measures around 10 to 20 milligram per deciliter. And vitamin K is important for the production of your prothrombin by the liver. Okay? And the half-life is 60 hours. So yeah, factor 2 is essential in the activation of your fibrinogen and stabilizing factor. Then last factor is your factor 1. Factor 1, the substrate for thrombin and precursor of fibrin. Function is to convert into a soluble protein absent in serum due to the consumption during clotting and present in plasma at around 200 to 400 milligram per deciliter. The half-life is usually 100 to 150 hours. So again, your factor 1 or your fibrinogen, okay, will later stabilize your clot. Okay, not a factor but included in your pathway intrinsic pathway, your prekallikrein, and your high molecular weight kininogen. Okay? So let's proceed to the pathways of your coagulation. First is your intrinsic pathway. Okay? Activation occurs when a vessel is injured or exposing the subendothelium basement membrane and collagen. This will lead to the activation of your contact factor. Okay? Contact factor, specifically your factor 12 together with factor 13, factor 11, high molecular weight, and pre-kallikrein. So this is a defection of your intrinsic pathway. Again, on your vessel injury, you will have collagen contact. Okay, that collagen will promote the activation of your contact group. Okay, your contact group, your factor 12, that will activate your factor 11, okay, activating your factor 9 and activating your factor 10. So 12, 11, 9, and 10. 12, 11, 9, and 10. So tandaan nyo, pagkakasunod-sunod lang ng numbers, pabaliktad, pag intrinsic is 12, 11, 9. Kasi si 10 is already a common pathway. So higher to lower. 12, 11, 9. Okay, in intrinsic pathway. Yun lang tandaan. 12, 11, 9. So ang 12 will activate 11, 11 will activate 12. 9, sorry. 12, 11, 9. Okay? And then si 10 is for common pathway. Then, prekallikrein is simultaneously or continuously converted into kallikrein by your high molecular weight kininogen with the help of your factor 12. This is a endless cycle. Okay? Activating your intrinsic pathway. Okay? On your intrinsic pathway, you could also observe that there is the presence of calcium in the step of activation of your factor 11 to factor 9 and your factor 9 to factor 10. Okay? Next, extrinsic pathway, no? Activated by the release of factor 3 or your tissue factor or tissue thromboplastin into the plasma from injured tissue. So kung kanina, collagen exposure to the contact group ang intrinsic pathway, ngayon naman sa extrinsic pathway is the tissue factor. Okay? From the blood vessel injury, tissue factor will or factor 3 will activate 7. So, ayun natandaan nyo, 3 and 7. Okay, 3 and 7. So, if you want to, okay, 3 calcium is 4 is equals to 7. Okay, that will initiate your factor 10 or the common pathway. Again, 3 plus 4 is equals to 7. Pero nga, hindi nga natin ito usually ginagamit kasi nakita din natin na calcium is seen on intrinsic and common pathway. Okay? Next, common pathway. This pathway starts with the activation of factor 10 okay, to factor 10A by either intrinsic or extrinsic. So again, pag intrinsic pathway, ano yung mga factors natin? 12, 11, 9. Pagka-extrinsic, that is only 3 and 7. So the rest are found in your common pathway. So ano yung mga yan? Factor 10 will be converting your factor 2, okay, with the help of factor 8 and calcium, okay, to convert your factor 1 into factor 1A, okay, in the stabilized fibrine to stabilize to a stable fibrine plot with the help of your factor 13. So ano naman to? 10, 8, 2, 10, 8, 2, 13, 1. Okay? 10, 82, 13, 1. So medyo madami pagka sa common pathway. Okay? So this is the complete depiction of your intrinsic, extrinsic, and common pathway. Again, intrinsic, okay, factor 12 will convert your factor 11, okay? 11 and converting your factor 9 to 9a, okay? So present din dyan si factor 8, okay? Then extrinsic, factor 7 lang, okay? And your factor 3. Common pathway, 10, 5, 2, 13, 1. Okay? So simply, the extrinsic, intrinsic will end up in the common pathway. And after your pathways, we need to maintain the blood in liquid state inside the blood vessel. So, kailangan hindi siya solid, unlike your thrombus or your emboli or your clot. Okay, so thrombin formation marks a critical event in the hemostatic process. That's why, okay, your thrombin will also initiate the fibrinolysis later on. So converts fibrinogen to fibrin and activates factor 13 to stabilize your factor. It enhances also factor 5 and factor 8C and induces platelet aggregation in order for you to form your clot. Okay? So, your procoagulants, okay, and your thrombin-mediated reaction usually induces platelet activation and aggregation, activates your cofactor 8 to 8A, and converts factor 13 to 13A via autocatalysis, converting your prothrombin to thrombin. And your coagulation inhibitors wherein it binds with antithrombin to inhibit serine proteases and binds to thrombomodulin to activate protein C that will inhibit your factor 5 and factor 5A. On tissue repair, it induces cellular chemostaxis and stimulates proliferation of smooth muscle endothelium to replace the previously damaged one. So what are the inhibitors of your coagulation? So we do have physiologic inhibitors or the normal inhibitors. First is your protein C, okay? Glycoprotein that is produced by the liver and is major inhibitor of blood coagulation that this usually inactivates your factor 8 and factor 5 in the presence of cofactor protein S. Okay? And your protein S is a vitamin K dependent protein that is usually produced by the liver and this function to enhance binding of your protein C to phospholipid surface and increase the rate of factor 5 and factor 8A in activation by protein C. So the thrombomodulin, it inhibits the thrombin and activate the clotting cascade. And the antithrombin 3, this is a major inhibitor of thrombin and factor 10A. So again, these inhibitors of coagulation, okay, regulates the fluidity of your blood. Okay, we also have your heparin cofactor, which inhibits thrombin. So usually the thrombin is the one being inhibited by your coagulation inhibitors. Okay, and usually the activity is enhanced by heparin. And alpha-2 macroglobulin forms complex with thrombin, kallikrein thus inhibiting their activities. You also have extrinsic pathway inhibitors such as your lipoprotein associated inhibitor or your LASI. Okay? That inhibits factor 7A, which is a tissue complex factor. And your C1 inhibitor inactivates factor 12A and plasma kallikrein, okay, factor 11A and plasmin. And your alpha-1 antitrypsin, which also is a slow reacting thrombin inhibitor, which inhibits your factor 11 and factor 10. And you have also your activated protein C inhibitors that inhibits protein C. This is more active when heparin is present. So all of these inhibitors, okay, promotes anticoagulation, meaning you prevent formation of your clot during normal circumstances. Kasi nga, hindi natin usually kailangan continuous ang coagulation if ever that there is already tissue formation, tissue repair. Okay? So for your fibrinolysis, now after we clot your blood, we need to remove it or we need to lyse it on the site of injury. So that is the process of your fibrinolysis. So on your fibrinolysis, okay, it is a controlled breakdown of fibrin by plasmin, okay, by plasmin, and it is a process necessary for resolving clot after a vascular repair. So ano nangyayari, no? After na mag-repair na, maayos na atin yung injured site, we usually remove the clot kasi nga if ever that the clot is still there, it will disturb our blood flow and it could also lead into complications such as your embolism. Okay? Then you have also fibrinolytic proteins which are incorporated into the fibrin clots during its formation, ensuring the process occurs at the site of injury. Anong ibig sabihin nito? Meaning that, okay, during coagulation, you also simultaneously, okay, start the formation or the incorporation of your fibrinolytics, okay, in the clot, ensuring, no, na doon lang mangyayari yung fibrinolysis at hindi sa other clots na ma-form, okay? Or hindi sa other sites, doon lang sa mismong site na iyon. And the process begins several hours post-thrombus formation, which is also triggered by your inflammation and coagulation signals. So hindi matagal, hindi ganun katagal na nag-i-stay yung thrombus doon sa site. It will be lysed, okay, several hours after there is already a presence of healing on your blood vessel. Okay? Yan. So mawawala din siya later on. It is a system whereby the temporary fibrin clot is systematically, okay, systematically and gradually dissolved as the blood vessel heals in order to restore again normal blood flow. Kasi if ever that you do have a turbulence or abnormalities in the blood vessel, that could cause hypertension and even other complications of your blood flow. Okay? So, kaya tinatanggal din natin normally yung mga clot. And, okay, we do have problems of primary and secondary fibrinolysis. So, in primary fibrinolysis problem, okay, excess amount of plasminogen. So again, ano si plasminogen natin? Your plasminogen will initiate the fibrinolysis. Okay, the dissolving of the clot. And during this problem in the primary fibrinolysis, okay, you will have excess amount of plasminogen which will, okay, initiate excessive fibrinolysis. Saan ba nanggagaling tong excess plasminogen na to? Usually, your plasminogen is released by your endothelial cells. And your endothelial cells, once damaged, will release plasminogen. And if ever that there is a damaged cell, okay, coming or even a malignant one, no, a cancerous one, mutated cell producing plasminogen, you could have excessive fibrinolysis. So that's a primary. Ano ba yung mga yan? Wala tayong usually converts the plasminogen to plasmin in the absence of your fibrin formation. So wala ka namang clot. Pero naglalays ka na naglalays. So usually this is caused by no fibrin monomer, no fibrin polymer, or kaya naman the D-dimer, mawawala. Okay? And usually the common agent for your primary fibrinolysis problem is your prostatic carcinoma. Okay, that will initiate production of or induction of your plasminogen. Next, and the problem of your secondary fibrinolysis, for the DIC, usually this is composed of DIC, infection, neoplasm, snake bite, and even HTR or your HTR. Okay, later. Alala natin yung meaning niya. So the DIC is uncontrolled and appropriate formation of fibrin within the blood vessel. So ano yung meron dito? Usually, pagka-secondary naman, merong clot na napo-form. And dinidissolve mo siya ng dinidissolve. Okay, unlike your primary, wala ka namang clot pero nagpa-fibrinolysis ka. Okay, sa DIC, again, ano man problem natin sa DIC? Both coagulation and fibrinolysis. Okay? So yan. So infection, they could usually form clots and even in cancers. Your snake bites, no? Usually the snake bites promote coagulation and your HTR. Then, you do have this figure wherein this is the mechanism of your antithrombin to control your coagulation activation. So, ano nangyayari? This is your antithrombin. Okay, binding with your thrombin to be inactivated. Okay? So with together with heparin, no, to initiate activation or enhance the activity of your antithrombin in binding your thrombin, forming your thrombin antithrombin complex, leaving your thrombin unusable. Okay? So these are the proteins of fibrinolysis pathway. So you do have plasminogen, TPA, urokinase, plasminogen activator, antiplasmin alpha 2, antiplasmin, and your uh, TAFI or your thrombin activatable fibrinolysis inhibitor. So let's start with your plasminogen. So plasminogen, this is a 92 kilodalton zymogen produced by the liver and contains 5 Pringle domain, enabling binding to the fibrin during polymerization. So kaya 5 yung domains, 5 yung Pringles niya para madami siyang ma-cover. Parang same with your immunoglobulins. No, ano yung immunoglobulin na malaki? It's your IgM. So parang ganun siya, pentamer. Okay? Um, activated to plasmin by cleavage at arginine 561 and valine 562 by your TPA and your urokinase. Okay? Yung tissue plasminogen activator and your urokinase plasminogen activator. So yan yung mga nagko-convert ng plasmin into plasminogen via cleavage or of your arginine and valine. Okay? Then plasminogen can also be activated by coagulation factors such as your 11A, 12A, and even kallikrein. Okay? So the activated form of your plasminogen is your plasmin. This is a serine protease that digests the fibrin by hydrolyzing, okay, the peptide bonds involved in your arginine and lysine residue. So its action exposes additional lysine residues by amplifying your fibrinolysis. And preplasmin can degrade fibrinogen, factor 5, and factor 8, and fibronectin. So, yun yung mga dinidegrade niya in the clot. Okay? In the clot. Kasi nga, again, your factor 5 and factor 8 are labile factors. Kaya madali silang masira ni plasmin. And rapidly neutralized by your alpha-2 antiplasmin to prevent hemorrhagic complications such as your primary fibrinolysis. Kasi nga excess plasmin can cause primary fibrinolysis. Kaya we do have a counterpart niya, si alpha-2 antiplasmin. Okay? Next, destroys fibrinogen and fibrin, okay, that produces your fibrin degradation product, which usually increases vascular permeability and interfere with thrombin-induced fibrin formation. So your fibrin degradation products will later on, okay, interfere with the clot formation, leading to a failure. Okay? It produces D-dimer as the end product of your fibrin degradation product and destroys factor 5, 8, 9, and 11. So usually, anong dinidestroy niya? The common pathway, okay? And the intrinsic pathway and other plasma proteins. Okay? It indirectly enhances or amplifies the conversion of factor 12 to factor 12A. Okay, because your factor 12A initiates the formation also of your plasminogen. Okay? Enhances or amplifies the formation of prekallikrein to kallikrein, liberating your kinins from kininogen. And also, same with your factor 12 to factor 12A, this conversion of kinins to from kininogen will also promote formation of your plasminogen. It also cleaves your C3 fragments. Next, your tissue plasminogen activator or your TPA. So for your TPA, this is secreted by your endothelial cells. Okay, endothelial cells binding fibrin via Kringle region and converts fibrin-bound plasminogen to plasmin. Okay, and it inhibited by circulation of your plasma activator inhibitor 1 or your PI1. So again, this TPA will promote your conversion of plasminogen into plasmin leading to fibrinolysis. And okay, during primary fibrinolysis, okay, we need to have your PI1 okay, in order for you to inhibit your TPA in converting your your plasminogen to plasmin. Next, your recombinant TPA is used therapeutically for okay, thrombolysis in disease like your myocardial infarction and stroke. So as we all know, your myocardial infarction and even your CVA or cerebrovascular accident, the problem is the formation of your embolus or your thrombi in certain areas of your blood vessel, specifically in the heart and in the brain. So, anong ginagawa? We could utilize this TPA in order for you to induce fibrinolysis, okay, leading to the lysis of your clots, okay, that cause your systemic problems, okay? Next is your urokinase plasminogen activator or your UPA, okay? It is secreted by also same in the epithelial cells, monocyte, and even macrophages. Okay? This is a less effective physiologically than TP. Therapeutically used as urokinase in thrombotic condition. So we also utilize this for thrombotic condition, same as with your TPA. Next, okay? PI1, your plasminogen activator 1. This is a principal inhibitor of your TPA and UPA. Bakit naman natin inhibit ngayon si TPA and UPA? During excessive coagulation, we need to inhibit the fibrinolytic agents such as your TPA and UPA. They are stored. So your PI1 is stored in platelets and increased during trauma to regulate fibrinolysis. So during platelet release or platelet secretion, ano ginagawa? Ni-stop ni PI1 si fibrinolysis muna. So tama muna yung fibrinolysis. Ako muna, magkakulat muna ako kasi may injury. Okay? Kasi pag na-activate yung platelets natin, usually there is an injury. That's why no, you need to stop your fibrinolysis muna. Next, elevated PI1 is associated with conditions such as obesity, atherosclerosis, and even thrombosis. No, kaya nga usually your PI1 is also a marker utilized for a risk factor, no, utilized as a risk factor checked for your possible high risk. If you are a high risk for forming or throwing embolus or thrombus, okay, such as in your MI or your CVA. Okay? So, yon. Kaya usually PI1 is also used as a diagnostic marker for risk factor identification in okay, thrombosis and embolism. Next, your alpha-2 antiplasmin or your A2AP. This is a primary inhibitor of your pre-plasmin. Okay? So kung kanina ang ini-inhibit is yung cleavage of your plasminogen into plasmin by TPA and UPA. Now, anong ini-inhibit natin? The pre-plasmin itself. So it binds with plasmin rapidly, preventing the systemic fibrinolysis. So ini-stop niya agad yung fibrinolysis due to inactivating of your plasmin. So the therapeutic lysine analogs such as your tranexamic acid and epsilon aminocaproic acid mimics its antifibrinolytic effect. If you would remember, if you do have members of the family that you had bleeding disorders such as excessive excessive menstruation, o kaya naman bleeding after dental procedures, o kaya after surgery. Okay, usually ano binibigay dyan sa kanila? Tranexamic acid. Okay? Ang tranexamic acid, bakit sila binibigyan ng tranexamic acid? In order to stop or to inhibit the plasmin from having the fibrinolysis or activating the fibrinolysis. Okay? Kaya magkakaroon ng clotting or pinopromote niya yung clotting in order for your blood to stop from flowing. Yeah. Okay? Next, your TAFI or your activatable fibrinolysis inhibitor. Okay? Activated by your thrombin thrombomodulin complex. It inhibits the fibrinolysis by cleaving exposed lysine residue on fibrin. Okay, reducing plasmin formation. And okay, dysregulated TAFI activity contributes to bleeding in hemophilia and thrombosis and thrombotic disorders. Ano naman ginagawa nito? Ni TAFI, si thrombin naman yung pinapakialamanan niya. Hindi si TPA, hindi si plasmin, hindi si UPA. Si thrombin itself in order for you not to initiate the fibrinolysis later on. So this is just a picture, okay, depicting how your fibrinogen is being degraded. So from fibrinogen, it will be degraded by your to your fibrin. Okay, and to your fibrin, it can lead to or produce fibrin degradation products such as product X, Y, D, and E, and even your D-dimer by the utilization of your TPA and even TAFI. Okay? Okay, ano namang ini-inhibit yan ni TPA and TAFI. So si antiplasmin will inhibit again the preplasmin. Si plasminogen ang ating primary fibrinolytic agent. So it will be activated by your TPA forming preplasmin. And your preplasmin will be inhibited by an alpha-2 antiplasmin. And your TPA naman promoting the conversion of plasminogen into plasmin will be inhibited by Pi1. Okay. On the bound plasmin that will degrade your fibrinogen, it will be activated by TPA and inhibited by your TAFI. And this is your degradation products of fibrin. So in a better view, okay, your Pi1, okay, as an inhibitor will attach to TPA, which is your activator for your plasminogen. So again, pag inactivate ni TPA si plasminogen, it will be degraded into plasmin. Pero you have your Pi1 to stop that. Okay? On your plasmin, okay, will lyse your lysine. Okay? Your lysine. Okay? Leaving or degrading your clot. Okay? And to stop that, you have your anti-plasmin attached to it. Okay? And even your TAFI. Okay? So yan yung mga yan. So anong implications? Excessive fibrinolysis can lead to hemorrhage and conditions such as your primary or secondary fibrinolysis. Okay? Reduced fibrinolysis can promote thrombosis due to impaired clot resolution or impaired removal of your clot. And the therapeutic applications, usually we utilize fibrinolytic agents such as your recombinant TPA, urokinase for clot dissolution, or antifibrinolytic agents to stop your bleeding such as your tranexamic acid. Okay? So yeah. So this is another mechanism of depiction by from fibrinogen to your fragments. So from fibrinogen, okay, you can have it seen as this way. Or this is the complete molecule of your fibrin. It is composed of D fragment, E fragment, K, B, A, B. Yan, yung mga fragments na yan. And okay, if we degrade your fibrinogen with the use of plasmine, okay, you will have fragment X, which is usually composed of fragment D, E, and D. This is dikit-dikit pa. Okay? Dikit-dikit na fragment D, E, D. If you would again degrade that with the use of plasmine, you would come up with fragment Y composed of fragment D and okay, nakahiwalay na yung fragment D. So fragment D na lang si fragment Y. And next, you will have your last degradation, you will have your fragments D and E na magkakahiwalay na. Wala na silang bond. Another depiction on your D-dimer naman, okay? Your complex fibrin, okay, will be degraded into fragment YY and DXD. Okay? Ano yung Y natin? Magkadalawang Y. Ayan, dalawang Y. Okay? And then, DXD. Kasi D, no? D na nakakabit sa X na may nakakabit din na D. Okay? It will be degraded by your plasmine, leaving you, okay, fragments of DED, fragment, and D-dimer. Okay, your D-dimer cannot be degraded furthermore. That's why, and cannot be linked, no, later on. That's why we utilize your D-dimer as a measure for your DIC. So ito lang yon, pinadali. Fibrinogen or fibrin, which is a urea soluble, will be degraded by plasmine, forming your fragment X. And then your fragment X can be degraded furthermore by your plasmine into fragment D and fragment Y. And another, your fragment plasmine will degrade your fragment Y into fragment D and fragment E. Okay? So, degradation of cross-linked fibrin, when normally cross-linked fibrin is dissolved by plasmine, isolated DNE fragments are not the characteristic end stage of the fragment. Rather, a variety of complex are found, mostly characteristic of one composed of 2D and 1E moiety. So that is called your D-dimer. So that is the ideal end product, not your individual D ED. Okay? So ano yan? Pagka cross-link fibrin, ito kasi non-cross-link fibrin or not stabilized by your factor 13. So pagka cross-link fibrin, your fibrin will be dissolved by plasmine into these complexes such as your D-dimer and E, complex Y, D and DY, and complex YY and DD or D-dimer again. So that is the best, okay, end product that we will have for your fibrinolysis. So that's all for your fibrinolysis.